Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Glish, the Associate Vice President for Communications here at Eastern Florida State College. And to get things going this afternoon, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of our college, Dr. Jim Ritchie. Under Dr. Ritchie's leadership, the college has built a state-of-the-art sports complex here on our Melbourne campus that includes the Titan Soccer Complex, where our nationally ranked men's and women's soccer teams play. Dr. Ritchie's vision in using the Titan Soccer Complex to benefit our Space Coast community and the entire Central Florida region has been central to bringing all of us here today. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Jim Ritchie.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I can tell you that we are thrilled to be here today to partner with the Orlando City Soccer Club to become the home for their new USL team, bringing professional soccer to Brevard County and Eastern Florida. Orlando City has captured the soccer world in Florida, drawing more than 500,000 fans to Orlando for Major League Soccer action. Many of those fans, as we see here today, live right along the Space Coast. With Orlando City's USL team playing right here, we will get to showcase our first-class Titan Soccer Complex, and we intend on delivering an amazing fan experience. We have worked diligently the past few years to bring partnerships such as these to our college, which help drive the local economy and foster greater awareness of our institution. In addition, this specific partnership creates potential opportunities for our students through internships during the season. Eastern Florida State College and our entire community stands to benefit from this partnership, and we're excited to kick off the new USL season with Orlando City. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce to you Tim Holt, Orlando City Vice President of Club Development.
Thanks, Dr. Ritchie. Appreciate all your confidence. Thank you, Dr. Ritchie. Good afternoon, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here on behalf of Orlando City for what is another exciting announcement in the continued growth of this club. Before we get into some of the details about what you can expect in the future, let's take a look back real quickly at the screen over there as to the storied history of Orlando City in the USL. Okay, certainly, yeah, please. Certainly a lot of great recent memories there, and we look forward to building quite a few new memories in the years to come. As I stated before, we're delighted to announce the launch of Orlando City B, in short OCB, which will be a club-owned and operated affiliate USL team, which will begin play in the 2016 USL season. As Dr. Ritchie mentioned, we are partnering with Eastern Florida State College to make Titan Soccer Complex the home stadium of OCB. We will increase the seating capacity of that stadium from 1,500, which currently exists in the grandstand, to 3,500 next season. A few more details momentarily. OCB tickets actually go on sale right now to existing MLS season ticket members. That window will open and they'll go on sale to the general public next Tuesday at 10 a.m. So for more information on ticket details and how we'll break up the seating, don't wait to get yours. Go to orlandocityb.com, which will be the website for this new USL team. So with the exception of some very exciting player announcements that Coach Anthony Pulis will make here in the next few moments, those are the highlights. Those are the headlines of today. But I would like to go into a little bit more detail on a number of different things that are exciting about what this team will make up on and off the field. again, with this being such an important step in the continued development and growth of the club, certainly from a soccer standpoint, but also just overall. First, the brand identity. If you look back there, you can see, you caught a glimpse of it in the video, Orlando City B, or OCB. We've opted for what the marketing folks would call an associated branding strategy, which in layman's terms means that we've really connected this with our core brand, with the Orlando City brand. We've done this in the historic tradition of clubs around the world whose second teams, or B teams, carry the name B, such as FC Barcelona, which has Barca B, Benfica, with Benfica B in Portugal and Porto, with Porto B. Real Madrid has also had their second team, which plays in lower divisions of Spanish soccer, also called B. So we're following in that historic tradition. At the same time, that's not something which is currently in play in the USL. So it's a little bit unique to the United States, certainly with the MLS teams that are doing their own USL teams, but it's not unique around the world, and we think it fits us very well. After all, we have two very connected and integrated professional teams that are part of our club system, and it just makes all the sense in the world to connect those brands. As you can see, there's some customization because this will be a team that competes with its own identity in the USL, the OC and the B standing out. What does the B stand for? Well, very technically and specifically, the B stands for B. But there's a lot of different ways that you can take that. The B can be whatever you want it to be. Certainly, we're in Brevard, and we'll touch on that in a second. It could be Brevard. Certainly, Orlando City Beautiful is another play that kind of makes a lot of sense. And you'll hear us typically refer to the team as OCB in the common. So we're very excited about the new identity, new brand, name, and logo for the club. So talked earlier about Brevard County, and we're here because we believe that after a good amount of research that this is the optimal location to launch our USL team. We think it'll be exceptionally well supported in a community that is definitely has soccer fever, both from a playing standpoint and from a fan support standpoint. It's within the Orlando DMA. It's close to our Orlando base, and Anthony can talk about some of the benefits of that from a player development standpoint momentarily. The Space Coast in Brevard County, in fact, the 45-minute radius around where we sit today here has almost 500,000 people. So it's a big enough community that we can draw the support that we need to create a vibrant atmosphere at our games. But it also has its own community feel. People that live in Brevard County and in Melbourne and the Space Coast are proud of this, and they'll have their own professional sports team, their own professional soccer team that they can support in addition to supporting Orlando City. So we're very excited about that. We'd like to thank some of the people at the county that have helped make this possible. Brevard County, Eric Garvey from the TDC, as well as Rusty Buchanan from Space Coast Sports Promotions that have helped us get to this point. Support for the team in this community has been evidenced. But anytime we have player appearances down here with our first team, they've been wildly popular. I can think earlier in the season when Breck Shea came down and there was a line wrapped around Academy Sports like it was Black Friday from a shopping standpoint. And if that's any indicator of how people feel about Orlando City, then it'll reaffirm everything that we think that this is the right spot. To start and have your own launch press conference and already have your own supporters club in the Harbor City Hooligans is very, very special and exciting. So I'd like to thank all of these folks that took time off from work to be part of this important event today, and look forward to you guys making a lot of noise and growing your numbers in games over the season. Yeah, absolutely. So as much as we strongly believe Brevard County is the right place for this USL team to play, we wouldn't be here today without Eastern Florida State College and their leadership believing in this. Namely, and there's so many folks that have been involved with this, namely Dr. Ritchie and Jeff Carr, who's the Vice President of Athletics and the head women's soccer coach. These are soccer guys. Both of them have sons that play Division I college soccer. They get it, but it doesn't stop there. This school is aggressively building all of its programs academically, athletically, in terms of facilities. It's just incredibly impressive, and all the times we've been down here, we can see that growth happening, and look forward to collaborating with you to spread the word about Eastern Florida State College, not just regionally, not just within this DMA, but nationally, as this team gets attention nationally and in a coordinated manner, sort of building things forward. So we appreciate the confidence that the administration of the school and the leadership and the board has shown in having us call Eastern Florida State College and the Titan Soccer Complex home. About the Titan Soccer Complex, and we'll go down there, and we hope that you join us after this gathering here. You can take a look at yourself. There won't be a better playing surface in the entire league. There won't be a better pitch. Full dimensions, beautiful grass, well kept. There's a main grandstand that seats 1,500. We talked about that getting to 3,500, and the way that we'll do that is we'll augment the seating on the main grandstand side, which is the west side of the stadium, by a couple hundred more seats, take it to around 2,000, both on the sides and in front. So you'll be right up close to the action, and it'd be a great vantage point to watch professional soccer. And then behind the goal on the south side, we'll add about 1,500 seats, including a dedicated supporters section for you guys to go wild and make a lot of noise and create the soundtrack and the energy for the game that's so important in professional soccer. So it's our pleasure. So not only will we have that, but what we want to do is, to the greatest extent possible, recreate the environment that we have at our MLS games. It's all scalable. Here it'll be 3,500 instead of 35,000 or more for the games, but it's a festive atmosphere. People can come early, enjoy the game, come in. We'll have a promenade with food trucks and vendors and sponsorship activation and fun zones, and we want to make this a great event experience. And we know that once the game starts, that there'll be high entertainment value. And again, you can't get any closer to the action than you'll be able to get for this team, which will be special. The original roots of Orlando City are in USL. We have Jay Preble, who's a senior communications executive with USL, who's joined us today at a very busy time for USL, as they're one day away from their championship game this season in Rochester with LA Galaxy 2, which was the first owned and operated MLS team to have their own USL team, playing Rochester Rhinos, who've been one of the most storied teams in USL over the year. The USL is the foundation in which Orlando City, grew its roots and has had, some of its most remarkable situations. It's easy to forget, with all the success on and off the field that's happened this year in MLS. It's just been a magical season, that in the 4 years that Orlando City was in MLS, fastest to 100 wins, and essentially an entire trophy case of awards that were amassed in 4 short seasons. No one in USL history, both in terms of fan support and winning championships, has done more in such a short period of time. So we look to building on that. The league that we rejoin, I don't think it's join, I think it's rejoin, for USL is very different than the one that we helped build in 2011 with about a dozen teams and a regional footprint. This league next year will feature about 30 teams, coast to coast, 2 conferences. 10 of those teams will be MLS teams that own and operate their own USL teams. Another 10 are affiliates of MLS teams. And then there are 10 teams that, like Rochester, are independent teams. So the makeup of the league is very unique and very exciting. It's as competitive as it's ever been. Talking about the USL, I think we'd be remiss not to recognize our friends at Louisville City, who were our affiliate in this inaugural MLS season, and all that they've done. Very close ties between the two clubs. Their owner, Wayne Estopanol, is part of the original Orlando City ownership group. James O'Connor was part of our staff for many years and a former player at the club, and Amanda Duffy is someone that I've worked with for a number of different years. And they had a historic season, 1 game from missing the finals, top in the league in attendance. And it was great, a 1-year relationship. But as we need more and we grow and evolve, it's time for us to move into a different phase. But we'd like to thank Louisville City. A lot of our front office is here today, people from our club in every area of the business: operations, ticketing, marketing, sponsorship, from our academy, players in the academy. So it's great to see that turnout. And each and every one of you have had a huge role in bringing this to fruition today through your support. I can tell you, as excited as you are, and hopefully as excited as the community is, our club is even more excited about this initiative. It's very important to us. This is not a reserve team and nothing else. It's about player development, absolutely. But for us, it's going to be about more than that. And we look forward to really making this an asset to the community and being involved in your community. Not just driving down and bringing the team down for games, but engaging and being active and being visible and making a difference. Those are the things that we've done in Orlando to make that team special. And there's no shortcuts in cutting corners. We'll need to do the same things, and we will do the same things to make this successful here. Before I close, and I know I've probably doubled my allotted time, and I apologize for that. I'd just like to recognize a few people, and I said there's too many to recognize, but then I'll go ahead and recognize a couple people individually. One's Paul McDonough, who's the general manager of the club and oversees all technical initiatives from the youngest kids in the club all the way through being the architect of our first MLS team that 10 days before the end of the regular season as an expansion team's fighting for a playoff spot. All the work and support that he's put into making this a priority for the season has helped get it to where it needs to be. And he'll be very involved with this club. And of course, our ownership, who continue to make strategic investments in things that are important to this club being successful, not just next year and the year after, but 10 and 20 years from now in so many different ways. So grateful to Flavio and Phil and all the owners for that. Last and definitely not least, and I'll leave it to Anthony. I'll stay in my lane. I want to introduce Anthony Pulis, who's the first head coach ever of OCB. Not enough time to go through all the reasons why he's the right choice for this job. His experiences as a player, in England and abroad in the United States, been part of the Orlando City culture since the beginning. His attention to detail, his work ethic, his network. He has the highest coaching badges that you can have, both in the United States and in Europe. Make him, the right person for this job. He will be successful on all the different metrics that we use to determine how a coach is successful in terms of this initiative with the club. And look forward to working with him and the first member of his staff, Rob Valentino, his assistant, who's an Orlando City legend, and Anthony is one too. So it's my pleasure. Thank you for everything this afternoon, and it's my pleasure to introduce the first head coach of OCB, Mr. Anthony Pulis.
Okay, I'd just like to start with a few thank yous. Flavio Augusto da Silva, Phil Rawlins, Paul McDonough, Adrian Heath. They've shown an unbelievable amount of faith in me to give me this job. The first, obviously, one in my professional coaching career, so I'm very grateful to them for that. I'd like to thank Tim Holt for his efforts and his hard work in bringing this franchise back and providing us with this opportunity. It's a massive honour and a privilege, like I say, to lead our new USL team back into a league where we've had so much success in the past. It's a vibrant league. It's growing all the time. We've only been out of it a year, and the strides that it's taken in the last 12 months, let alone the last probably 3 or 4 years since I've been here, is nothing short of unbelievable. This is a really important piece now, I feel, in the growth of our club and our organisation. It's going to be a massive opportunity for our younger players. They're going to be able to get competitive minutes week in, week out at a really decent level. And for me now, this is the best opportunity ever for our young players in Orlando City. There's a clear pathway for them. From the academy now all the way through to the MLS team, there's a pathway there for them if they want to make their dreams come true. They can progress through our academy into the USL team, and obviously, hopefully, our job now as a staff, myself, Rob, the other staff members we'll bring in, will be to make them into MLS players with Orlando City one day. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of the squad that we want to try and put together, it's going to be primarily younger players who we feel have a lot of potential to improve, develop, and obviously go on and represent Orlando City in the MLS one day. One of the issues we've had as a club this year, we've got some very promising young players. Unfortunately, they haven't had the chance to play regular minutes. That won't be the case next year. We've got Tommy Redding here today, one of our first homegrown player, who will need these minutes now for him to develop and go on to become the player that we believe he will be. Same for Raul Aguilera, who's here, who's a young academy player. Raul, this is going to be an unbelievable opportunity for yourself and all the players in your academy teams now, as you see this now, this pathway and a step forward for our club. we will be looking to bring in a handful of older players. This is something I felt, and I said it to the staff early on when I was made aware I was going to be having this job. We're going to need some very good veterans, some experienced guys, some that know the league, possibly some from abroad. It'll only be a handful, but I feel it's really important for them to obviously to help our younger players along as role models on and off the field. There's only so much myself and Rob can do from a coaching standpoint, but when they're actually on the field and in the thick of the action, there's some tough places to go in the USL. Myself and Rob have experienced that before, and I feel like the handful of older guys that hopefully we can bring in will be able to help them through that and help their development as players also. I also understand the business side of soccer. We want to fill Titan Soccer Complex. We want to make it a really good place for people to come and watch, a good environment for our young players to thrive and play in. So I understand that we want to win games. We will do our best to play attractive, exciting soccer that will hopefully bring as many people through the turnstiles as possible and make this a real good experience for supporters to come and watch. Finally, we've mentioned him. I'd like to officially welcome Rob Valentino back as assistant coach. We're delighted that Rob agreed to come back. He's been at Orlando City from day one. He knows everything about the club. You cut him, he'd probably bleed purple. So obviously I'm delighted and I'd like to welcome Rob.
Valentino. 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 Valentino.
That wasn't in the script, by the way. And finally, last but by no means least, very honoured and privileged to be able to announce our first 3 signings for Orlando City B. 2 of them are here with us today. One of them, unfortunately, is not. We got Kyle Callum McFadden, a young centre-back we've just signed from Norwich City in England.
Which one?
Kyle, stand up. An Irish under-21 international come through Norwich City's academy, a player that we identified and we feel like has got a lot of potential. He's got all the attributes that we want from a player. Fantastic kid, good character, good attitude, and a good player, and one that we hopefully can develop and we can move him along. Mikey Ambrose, stand up, Mikey. A left back we just signed from Austin Aztecs, went to the University of Maryland, FC Dallas Academy, and we're delighted to welcome Mikey to the club. Another player we feel very exciting, has a lot of potential, and another fantastic person, really good attitude, really good work rate, and that's something that I'm very strong on. I want good players, but I want good people as well. Good characters that are hungry, willing to learn and willing to progress and go on to fulfill their potential. Tony Rocha, a central midfield player from Austin Aztecs, unfortunately he's not with us today, but Tony's another player that I identified a few months ago. I think he's going to be fantastic for the way that we want to play. Will fit into our system great, and we look forward to welcoming Mikey. And obviously over the next few months, hopefully we'll be announcing some more signings as we gradually build our roster for the start of the 2016 season. That's it from me. Okay.
Thank you, Anthony, and good afternoon, everybody. Lenny Santiago, Vice President of Communications with Orlando City Soccer Club. We'd like to open it now up for some Q&A from the press. Just a couple procedural things. We have a microphone here. We'll bring it to you. Just raise your hand, please, once we have the microphone to you. Please, your name and affiliation. I'd like to ask Tim and Dr. Ritchie, if you don't mind, to come up here, and Anthony as well, please. I'm going to be off to the side, so you guys can use the mic. One other thing as well, once we're done with Q&A, we're going to move to the center field, the center of the soccer pitch, for a photo opportunity, as well as some one-on-ones for the TV cameras. So,
Paul Tenorio from the Orlando Sentinel. Tim, what's the, I guess, the budgetary standpoint? How does this impact Orlando City as a franchise? Is the investment taken on by the club, and how does that investment kind of spread across to everything from logistics and the stadium and renting the stands and all of that to player signings?
Yeah, Paul. As I mentioned before, the primary driver for this is one of player development, right? So it's important that we do this and make this investment in the future of the club and create this structure for the club. Like any, USL team or professional soccer team or any business, you come up with a budget to look at that. So the numbers obviously work for us. I think in the first year of launching a professional soccer team, it can be a challenge. You don't always know what your revenues are, but as we've done this and sort of projected it out, it's a very reasonable investment. Again, that's why we sort of thanked the ownership from the beginning and having their confidence in this, but it's incumbent on people like me and our staff to generate revenue from this and not just have it as 15 games that we're going to put on a soccer field, but turn it into something that not only is great for the community and is great for fans, but also something that's a revenue generating professional sports team.
Just to follow up on that, so I guess is the club taking the responsibility for increasing the capacity in the stadium for next year, and what's the plan to try to get to 5,000 by 2017?
Right, yeah, so it's a partnership. It's all rolled into our partnership with Eastern Florida State College and the facilities down here, and renting the facility and using the facility, the usage agreement, as well as bringing in the additional seats are all part of what's necessary for us to have the environment to play. And we'll look at that on an incremental basis year by year to see what we need to do based on fan support levels and everything. And as we've talked with them, we've talked about what we'll need to do for this upcoming season. This has come together very fast, so we've been putting some pieces together to be able to have an agreement that allows us to meet deadlines and get going for 2016. But then there's a longer term discussion where we'll look at what we need to do going forward, in part based on how things play out over the next over the first season and beyond.
Additional questions from the press, please raise your hand. Paul?
What is the process? I imagine it's just kind of a formality, but to get the franchise rights granted by USL, is there a timeline on that?
So we've done that. So that's part of what we're announcing today, is that we've formally acquired the reacquired, I guess would be the correct verb, the franchise rights for Central Florida for the USL, which used to be called USL Pro, but for the professional division of USL. So that process has occurred, and we've secured those rights, and that's part of this announcement. Sorry for not being clear on that.
Thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.